Are the New York Rangers going to win the Stanley Cup?
No.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Glove Drop. Last playoffs gave me this golden opportunity to be able to make any prediction I want, and it can be considered reasonable. These are my predictions for the 2019-2020 season. Who's going to win each division? Who is going to win the conference championships? Who's going to win the cup? And who's going to win the trophies? Kaapo Kakko Calder Award. Got one out of the way. I'm going to start off with the Pacific Division. The teams that I think will be in the playoffs: Calgary Flames. They fell apart during the playoffs last year, but they did have 107 points. The second team I've got going, the Vegas Golden Knights. Mark Stone was a huge factor in their performance last year, and this time around they have him for the full season. And I can't really put my finger on why I feel this way, but something tells me there are going to be a lot of calls that are in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. As far as who is going to win the Pacific Division, San Jose. Pavelski is gone, yes, but Pavelski was not there during their playoff run. He was out for majority, and then he comes back in and gets injured again. So Pavelski not being there, I can't imagine that it's going to be that much of an issue. The issue with the Sharks, though, is in the net. Martin Jones is not a good goalie. And the fact that the Sharks managed to finish last season with 101 points, it's insane. And if Martin Jones is able to play close to what is acceptable of an NHL goalie, I do not see that being an issue at all. Moving on to the Central. The St. Louis Blues, of course, they're coming off of the Stanley Cup. They still have such a solid team. Jordan Binnington in net is going to be huge. I don't expect him to be playing at level that he was during the playoffs, but I don't think he's going to fall off much. The second team in the Central that I've got in the playoffs, the Dallas Stars. They've got top players who, when they're on and they're focused, they are some of the top players in the entire league. And in net, Ben Bishop has the potential to be the best goalie in the league, and I see no reason why he can't get there. Now, the winner of the Central Division, there is no doubt in my mind that the Colorado Avalanche are going to come out and they are going to just run a train. Watching them play in last year's playoffs was one of the most exciting series, and as the series went on, it became more and more clear. Colorado, you're going to be ridiculous next year, and it's next year. Colorado has got some solid talent. Nathan MacKinnon can be argued as a top 10 or potentially a top 5 player throughout the entire league. They've got the addition of Cale Makar. Cale Makar got pulled up last year during the playoffs, or will definitely be a contender for the Calder. Unfortunately, he will lose to Kaapo Kakko, but it's still Colorado Avalanche going to take that one. The two wildcard teams really don't have much of a reason for, but the Arizona Coyotes, I think I just like Phil Kessel. And the Winnipeg Jets were kind of a default because even though they don't have a second line center, and even though they have literally no defense, and even though they're working through some hurt feelings between teammates because Patrick Laine said some things, it doesn't even matter. They're still going to be better than the other teams in the Central Division. Now moving over to the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division, Tampa Bay is still good. They are traumatized, they're embarrassed, and they blew it. They will be a playoff team, but I think a lot of people are going to not get their hopes up this time. So Tampa Bay, first team for the playoffs from the Atlantic. The second team from the Atlantic Division, Toronto Maple Leafs. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Morgan Riley. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to have an incredible season. Now, as far as the winner of the Atlantic Division, I can't believe I'm even saying this. The Florida Panthers, yes, they're still a team. The Florida Panthers have been somewhat forgotten, very much overshadowed by the Lightning. They kind of put it all together right now when they snagged Sergei Bobrovsky. He, along with Artemi Panarin, were the only reasons that the Blue Jackets made it as far as they did. Blue Jackets kind of made a mistake with that one, though, because Blue Jackets are going to have a really rough season. Last but not least, the best division, the Metropolitan. Playoff teams from the Metro. Capitals. They're still really good, and their playoff run was nothing less than what I would expect from Ovechkin. Not a lot has changed with the Caps. Playoff team, no doubt in my mind. The second playoff team, the New Jersey Devils, I feel are being really, really overrated. I'm biased. Yes, they did get the first overall pick in Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is not as NHL ready as he will be down the line. As far as the other stars on the team, Taylor Hall was ready to up and leave. They acquire PK Subban. He stayed, kind of curious to see if there is going to be a power struggle. I really don't think they're going to be as good as everybody is making them out to be, but they will be a playoff team. As far as who is going to win the Metropolitan Division, defense wins championships. Carolina Hurricanes, they have managed to pull in this ridiculous defensive setup. They picked up Jake Gardiner from Toronto. There is something about the Hurricanes where I feel like they fly just under the radar, and then something like last season happens where they come out and they take people by surprise. I don't think people are going to be as surprised this time around. Carolina Hurricanes taking the Metro. And then, of course, I've got the 2 wild cards from the Eastern Conference. The Boston Bruins, they're old as hell. So old. Chara is like 40. Marchand is past his prime. And we watched their first line fall to pieces during the Stanley Cup final. They did rely heavily on Tuukka Rask. Just don't see Rask coming out and being the hero that he was last season, but I can't sit here and say that they won't be good enough to be in the playoffs. So wild card to the Boston Bruins. Final wild card spot, New York Rangers. The Rangers have Kaapo Kakko, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, Artemi Panarin. Absurd. One look at the power play during these preseason games, it is arguably going to be the best in the league, which is a huge change from last season because they blew it with the power play. I do expect to see the Rangers get to that wild card spot. So as far as what the conference finals are going to look like and who's going to come out on top, Colorado Avalanche from the West, and, wait for it, Toronto Maple Leafs. And I feel like the Leafs have it in them to defeat Carolina Hurricanes defense. As far as who's taking the cup, Colorado, they will win the Stanley Cup. Not jinxing the Leafs. That's how friendships end. In all honesty, Colorado has all of the pieces that they need. So, those are my predictions. Head on down in the comments. Tell me why you agree, tell me why you disagree, and tell me what you think. While you're down there, if you have not hit subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Got so much coming. I hope everybody has a wonderful opening day, and I will see you all in the next one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go pregame because hockey starts tonight.